you need to know more about me, and what you know about me is not necessarily what I know about myself. Because see, this is me, but what you know about me is in here. This is your opinion about me. Your opinion about me can be better than my opinion about myself. Or maybe what you know about me can be worse than what I think about myself. Maybe my opinion about myself is inflated or it's deflated. I don't really know, but I know that I have something in my mind that is a representation of myself. So I think of myself. As you can see, it's quite schizophrenic because there's I, which is this, that thinks of himself, which is this. So there's two I's. There's two me's. Which one is true? Which one is based on facts? Which one is true for me, but hey, it might be that my mom thinks of me as well. So it might be that she has a completely different image about me than I have about her. See, this image is called in marketing a personal brand. And the way we are brought up is that most of people, most of the time, they don't use their own brands, but they use brands of others. So that your parents didn't really imagine you, your parents imagined a child. So they created a brand and they said, he's gonna be nice, or she's gonna play with dolls, or he's going to be interested in cars, she's going to graduate from medicine and medical school because I'm, as her father, I'm a doctor and she needs to continue what we were doing. So altogether, people create our brands, and there's many that you have. You have a brand, what it means to be good man or a woman, and it changes. I mean, a good woman here in California, is it when she gets married or better when she's independent and alone? What do you think? What's better? What's a good brand here for a woman?
Probably depends on where in California you are. If you're in a city, it's probably more career-oriented.
Okay. So then, apparently, also, there's something that is called status, which is my position in a certain tribe, which informs me if I have a good brand or a bad brand. So, if I'm a PhD economist, is it good? Is it a good brand to have?
Yeah.
Does it mean that I'm clever?
Yes.
No, well, this is interesting. You say that most likely I am, but what does cleverness generally in life have to do with the fact that I've defended PhD thesis? Not necessarily, it's connected, right? But apparently this brand leads us somewhere. There's definitely a brand of what it means to be a good man. Who is a good man here? We're in San Diego. What does it mean to be a good man? What would you say? Gentlemen and gentlewomen, you definitely should know. I mean, it's been branded. Does it mean you should have family? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, a good man is the one who has family. So he is married and has kids. That's family, right?
Yep.
So now we obviously have a problem, because when I ask you about a good woman, you said that in certain situations it's better if she focuses on career. If she focuses on career, she might not necessarily focus on family life. So here comes a conflict. If he's good a man, being married with kids, he obviously needs a woman for that. But you said that she has a better brand in certain places in California when she's not married and she doesn't have kids but focuses on career. I'm confused. Apparently, they are in trouble with these two brands. Because what is expected of him is different than what is expected of her. Of course, we're generalizing, but it's food for thought, which is important. Should I be rich? Should I have money?
Yes.
Okay. Should I have a certain body type? Like slim abdominals, or should I be fat? Because I can take you to places, we can travel somewhere where people who are overweight have higher status because it means that they have enough money to buy food. Interesting.
Abs.
Yeah, that's abs. Okay, abs. I understand. I'm just learning what it means to have a good personal brand in California, right? So that if I get this brand, obviously I'm going to have access to resources, right? So as you can see, all these opinions and all these collective brands are created, and once you present yourself, all this really needs to a fundamental question. Do people really know you, your DNA, your soul, your personal history, or simply they put you into all these brands based on stereotypes they know about others and judge you based on first impressions. This leads us to a fantastic concept. People don't know you, but they think they do, and they behave as if they would. This creates, obviously, a certain dynamic. Like, for example, if you're not judged fairly, then the world is unjust. Well, we know that. If there's research which shows that if a woman is applying for a job and she uses trousers rather than a skirt, then she's going to be considered to be more competent. Is that just? No, it's not. Who cares? If you don't know the game, you lose the game. So you need to understand the rules of the game in order to use the rules to win the game. And once you're the winner of the game, what can you do with the rules? You can change the rules of the game and create your own games. So it's always fascinated me that even though I have me, this me, which is my personal brand, is not necessarily mine. It's a set of opinions, stereotypes, stories that people have about likes like me, but they never really get to know who I am. What's more, I'm not giving that much a chance to prove who I am because I have, according to research, 3 seconds to be treated as someone who is likable or someone who's an expert. And apparently these two don't go, especially for women, together. So if after 3 seconds of first impression, you're a person who's liked, people would say, I'd like to drink some beer with this guy, but they will really not treat you as an authority if you start talking about something. But if you are considered an expert, they will listen to what you're saying, but you're not going to be liked. Obviously, the alchemist's stone in first impression would be, how can I make it so that they like me and that I'm an expert in the same moment? Unfortunately, it's not that easy, because after 3 seconds, people will not tend to change their opinions so much, especially when it gets to 11 seconds, in which moment they will make a decision, that basically their brain will, that they know who you truly are. So if during the first 3 seconds you are judged as the person who is not very clever, then if you say something clever, they will say, wow, not only is that person dumb, but they also pretend they are not. So they will have a self-fulfilling prophecy. Another one is that if you are considered to be clever, after 11 seconds you say something stupid, and then the person will go, wow, not only are they clever, but they also have distance to themselves. I really appreciate that. So as you can see, you're going to be judged, no matter if you like it or not. You're a hero in someone else's dream, or a villain, depending on how you present yourself. So I've done a lot of research on the topic, and personally, I've been fascinated if I can actually control what others think of me, because firstly, I'm the only one who really knows myself, and secondly, if I don't take care of it, I will be bound to be judged unfairly, unjustly by people based on their own projections. So I go, how about doing something specific with this opinion about myself so that actually people can get to know who I really am? This led me not only to scientific research, but also to a process of self-discovery. Because people, I'm sure you heard about this, they tell you, you need to discover who you truly are. But then when I started digging who I truly am, I didn't discover myself, just the opposite. I discovered different brands, they had nothing to do with me. For example, I discovered that my mother used to call me, that was a good boy. And the good boy, according to my mother, was the one who would listen to her. Do you understand what this belief can do to an adult man? You are good if you listen to women. Ooh, sounds like being someone who wears no trousers in the house, friends. This is just a collective story. It was a brand that my mother projected on me because for some reason she wanted to have a good boy. She was not interested in having a bad boy. Apparently some women are interested in having bad boys. My mother wanted to have a good boy. It creates a friction, a conflict between women. One woman wants me to be a good boy, another woman wants me to be a bad boy, but no woman wants me to be myself. A fascinating concept. Maybe these women even don't know who they are. So I discovered being a good boy. Second thing I discovered to have an internal pole, to be Polish. And when I looked into it, I discovered that being Polish is based on certain behaviors and is based on a certain language that you use. This language is constrained, and this language is limited and makes me the way I can communicate with others. For example, in Polish, there's around 450 words that describe cognitive abilities of the person. Do you know how many of these are negative? 443. Which means that if I use Polish, I cannot be positive. It's not inside the language. It's not given. I cannot possibly be positive thinking in Polish because the language itself does not allow it when it comes to judging. So once I discovered that, I go, hey, what will happen if I use a different language? And if I use a different language, I'm sure guys who speak other languages can confirm, personality changes. You become a different person. You feel differently because you program your brain differently. So I said, okay, wait, and how about attitude towards money? And there's this research which says that 50% of Poles are ashamed to talk about money. 30% feels uncomfortable. 20% is simply afraid to talk about money. 75% thinks that if you achieve success in life, it means that probably you are cheating or you knew somebody who helped you. And they went, I don't want to believe that. But if you live in a certain aquarium, being a fish, it's impossible for you to know that you are inside an aquarium. No fish knows they are in an aquarium. And you cannot possibly elevate a bucket in which you're standing. So I decided that it was not enough for me to be a Pole. On the other hand, I loved certain other behaviors, like for instance, if they tell a Pole it's impossible, they will do everything to prove that someone was wrong. So brave, unstoppable nation, but so negative when it comes to linguistics at the same time. So I went to Germany to study. I was 22 or 23, and then I discovered that the Germans are superbly organized because Ordnung muss sein, so they follow these rules. And I discovered that if I follow the rules, then I feel safe because of the system. But on the other hand, I feel bored with life because everything should be predictable. So what happens if I connect Pole with a German? And then I went to England, and in England they say, well, you are supposed to be proud to be British, and they are so proud, but on the other hand, very politically correct, so they don't have tendency to be direct. You know what I mean? That I was discovering all these stories about different nations, but none of these stories had anything to do with me. I was just hoping that in this discovery process, I would finally, peeling the onion, piece by piece, find the core, and the core would say, it's me. Is this romantic story that exists everywhere that's, you know, two halves of an apple, you find all your soulmate, right? We just need to find the person, and there's a perfect partner, there's a perfect job, there's a perfect fit for us somewhere. We just need to keep looking. But I would be peeling this. I found my mother's son, I found my collective, I found what it meant to be a man at that time. And my father would tell me when I was young, around 40 years ago, when I was crying, he would tell me, men don't cry, girls cry, right? So this way we would suppress our sensibility. I mean, I wouldn't want to be that man. So I kept on peeling to get to a certain point. What do you think happens when you keep on peeling an onion?
You end up with nothing.
Then finally you find nothing. And that's what I found. I found that beneath all this, there was pure nothing. And only the one who has nothing can have everything. And this is where I, apart from discovering, understood that I need to create myself.